My God, this week sucked. This week was so bad.
Yeah.
It starts off with my general... starts off like last weekend, right? With my general mindset and how I operate around my health, which is fucking terrible, and I recommend don't, everybody at home, don't do this. Be better than me. I'm now trying to be better than me, but don't do this. Where Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember when, I ran my tongue across my teeth, and one of my back teeth felt a little spikier than normal. I was like, the fuck is going on there? I tried, kind of prod a little bit. It was okay. I was like, it didn't move or anything. I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. That'll work itself out. I will...
Yeah, teeth are meant to be like...
Exactly. Teeth sometimes are meant to be pointy and
sometimes you just hit your tongue the wrong way.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, Did
you cut your tongue?
No, I didn't cut my tongue. It wasn't that sharp. It was fine. So I was like, you know what? If it's still an issue next year...
You want them sharp so you can get through your food,
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, you know what? If it's still bad at the start of next year, because I've had a lot of money already fucking annoying me this year with tyres... If it's like this in January, I'll go to the dentist in January and I'll get it sorted. Whatever.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
Seems like, I'm like, yeah, I'll get it checked out eventually, As like a general kind of, what's the best wording for it? As a general viewpoint for it, and a gentle feeling for how I operate around my health and my teeth and everything. Well, my teeth specifically, I'm English. English just have genetically bad teeth. And I've always had bad teeth. I haven't loved my smile. I've always it kind of sucks. I forget to brush a lot. It's, it's a whole situation, and I know it is, and I'm self-aware, but at the same time, stick your head in the sand and, it'll be fine, right? Until I was eating lunch on Monday, a nice, soft, slightly crunchy because I had pickle and stuff in it sandwich, and then all of a sudden there was this really hard bit in the sandwich. I was like, the fuck is that? Kind of do the thing where you fish it out. It's like a chunk of the tooth. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Wednesday, I'm like, alright, I'll book a date. I'm like, double check my health insurance. Sweet, I have dental on my health insurance, so it won't be as bad as it could be. Cool. Booked a dentist appointment. Next day is 2 days' time. Eat lunch Tuesday. Seems to be lunch, right? Because dinner the night before, absolutely fine. Tuesday lunchtime again, bit of more tooth pops off. I'm like, fuck my life. Okay, this is gonna fucking suck already. I know this is bad.
You stop eating bread.
Apparently, just need to stop eating sandwiches. I know this is bad. So, go to the dentist Wednesday morning. They're like, yeah, this is because of decay. We're just gonna have to pull it out. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. They're like, we can do it now if you want. I was like, yeah, alright. I'm here. I'm sat in the chair. Fuck it. Let's do it. So that then was 40 minutes of, you know what, right? In life, I've been told I have a big mouth. As I'm a podcaster, I talk a lot. This dentist lady made me feel for the first time in my life that I had a tiny fucking mouth, because the way she was stretching my lips to get the fucking pliers into the back tooth, I think I actually either cut my lip during it because there was blood, dried blood that wasn't from my tooth all the way up my lip after. But yeah, no, so I had that fucking yanked out. That's a fucking weird experience. Didn't hurt, it was just uncomfortable the entire time. You get enough numbing shit these days.
Pretty crazy what they can do now.
Yeah, it's numbing. You just feel the pressure that she has to apply to your fucking jawbone to be able to get all of it out. Yeah, so I have a giant hole in my gum at the moment, which is kind of fun and very weird, and I had to only eat cold things for the first day, and then 3 days of kind of just eating noodles and stuff, because that was the easiest shit to eat. Yeah, so I have to go back. I think I'm getting a general dentist appointment tomorrow, which is Sunday recording, so Monday, going to another one. So yeah, that has kickstarted I need to just be a fuck ton better, especially about my teeth. So this morning I went out and I've got an electric toothbrush and mouthwash and proper Alright, let's commit to do it 2 times a day properly. So if you're
Mm.
younger than me, I'm only 28, so I really shouldn't be having a tooth breaking like that. At 28, I should be pretty good for a couple more, decade
Yeah.
or two before I have to worry about my teeth. But, I'm a fucking idiot, and I didn't look after myself properly. So yeah, for anybody listening, go look after yourself. Go to a dentist. Don't do what I do and just be like, dentist, because I do have some anxiety and like dentists suck. And it's
Well, you just talked about them ripping your teeth out
Exactly,
of your mouth with
exactly.
pliers, so I
Yeah.
mean, it's not exactly the most.
It's not. It's not. They were really nice to me. They told me I did such a good job, and I was like, man, I did a good job. Go me.
You did a good job. I'm doing a very bad job.
I'm doing a bad
For, like,
job.
several
So
years,
no, I'm
yeah.
gonna fix my shit and get my teeth sorted out. And it's kind of led me to like my whole, I guess this week, my whole mindset of my health in general. I do need to look after myself a fuck ton better than I do because I'm a husky guy. I'm well overweight, and I need to get that in check. It's just been a weird week of just a lot of self-retrospective, and like the reason, like we were supposed to record like an hour ago, I got a call from Telstra yesterday, like, hey, do you want the Google Watch? We asked you about it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's do that. So
Okay.
I went and got a Google Watch. So that has my health shit looking at me in the face, which I hope is like
Effective. Yeah.
effective
Like,
and more.
you've been
focused.
sitting down for like 5 hours.
Yeah. You've been playing God of
Who
War
was
all
asleep?
day. Go for a walk or something. Or hey, you need to sleep for 8 hours, but it's 11 o'clock and you've got an alarm set for 7, which is 8 hours. So you need to go right now. And it's like, oh, okay. So overall, I hope my health is better. I'm gonna put more focus on it. So hopefully, it's kind of it's funny when you look at people within our community, like especially like say Ryan Betson from Pop Culturist, who's got himself into fantastic shape over the last couple of years. Which is very much a thing where it's like, yeah, it's doable. You just need to put some effort in, and
It's so hard. The effort is so hard.
effort is hard. You know what my biggest problem is, and I've said this all my life. If they could make a salad taste like a cheeseburger, I would eat salads. But
One day.
they just can't.
I think it's
like
I think it could happen one day.
it could.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like it would be wrong if it did taste that way. It just wouldn't feel right.
I mean, it would be a texture thing more than anything else.
100%. But yeah, no, it's definitely a thing of, burger is my favorite food. I fucking love burgers. I could kill for a burger. It was McHappy Day yesterday. Had to go get a Big Mac because it was for charity.
Yeah, it's for charity.
It's for charity, so the calories don't count, right? But, it's a lot of things. It's drinking more water. It's cutting back on like, I
Caffeinated
like
stuff.
caffeinated stuff. I like a couple of years ago, I like gaslit myself into think I was making a better choice because I stopped drinking normal Coke and started drinking Coke no sugar.
That makes a huge difference. I don't know what
I
you're
was
talking
gonna
about.
say, right?
That
like,
and the Red Bull Zeros and the
it's like if it's
anything
no
with
sugar, right? It's just better for you, right? No, but it is. It has been an interesting read of retroflective. It sucks that it takes. It's as I say with other things in my life. It sucks that it takes like a big thing to happen to make things change, and especially for me, make this change about my health. But all the best. If you I hope it's all right. I hope
was it what was more expensive, the removal of your teeth or a tire?
Would you believe same price? But actually, no. I will correct it. Same price, but my private health insurance did give me some money back.
Oh,
so
thanks,
there's win-win. But I'm paying for that health insurance, so
yeah, it's interesting. Well, you would be paying for private health insurance for
I'd be
your
paying
glasses and like
100%.
So, I mean,
and like I'd honestly.
I mean, it's like any insurance,
Yeah, and I'd honestly say, especially anybody younger than me, or
it's like Ned Flanders say, it's a form of gambling. Are you gonna get your money's worth out of paying insurance or not? Yeah,
and I think it's something. That not many young people are told about or explained to when you leave high school. If you leave high school, and sure, if you're at university, I can totally understand overlooking this. But if you've got a full-time job and it's a okay paying full-time job, please budget to get yourself some kind of health insurance or private health insurance. Like get yourself some kind of cover in there, because I can tell you there was one of the times I went to go buy glasses and I was not looking forward to it because I was like, it's going to be expensive. Glasses generally are. It's going to be like $300-400. And then I only had to pay $1 because the health insurance is like, we'll pay the rest of it. So it's like it's worth having for when you, even if you go, oh, I'm never going to need it. Have it just in case. I think it's it can be, you can find an affordable managed one. You don't need all the extras. If you look after your teeth, you might not need dental as much as I do. But yeah, no, it is do that for yourselves. This is probably a self-help episode of Arcade Couch Between the Cushions, but go get some health insurance and look after yourself and book a dentist appointment in, because if you're like me, you probably didn't book one in, and then you never went, and then
just wait till something doesn't feel right.
Exactly, and then
even then, you just wait a couple of days, and just maybe it'll just go away naturally.
Ignore it some more.
Just brush your teeth a couple extra times just to make sure it isn't something like,
maybe this is just how life is now.
Some mouthwash.
Exactly.
So you're gonna have a permanent gap, or
I don't know.
They couldn't put a dummy tooth.
They can. I've got to talk to the dentist about it tomorrow, because it would mean I would need a root canal, because the process is you get a root canal, and then they put a screw there, and then that takes 3 months to heal, and then they can fit the cap onto it, and then that takes another month to heal. So I will get it. It is in my endeavor to get it. It's just I need to know how much it's going to cost, because it's not going to be timing, and it's not going to be.
I mean, it helps that it's I assume it's one of your back.
It's
models,
a back
right?
one, so from the front you don't see it.
You can't see it. So
you can't see it.
What is the benefit in getting it? Did they explain?
Not really. I guess in terms of eating, I know from experience, Dad has a very similar one, and he said, look, for all of my life he didn't get it filled, but he's for all of my life I just naturally eat on the other side of my teeth, just because if something gets in between there, it can feel very weird and it can be uncomfortable. Yeah.
So one side of your face will get bigger because you're chewing on that side more.
It'll be more hench. It'll be more jacked, and exactly 100%. So other than my dreadful week and all my health advice, how was your week this week, Ashley?
My week was pretty tame in comparison. Just lots of work and craziness.
Have you
pretty
basic?
Yeah, pretty basic. It doesn't help that Dylan disappeared for he went into hiding these last couple of days.
Hiding.
I've been picking up slack here at the Explosion Network. Put up a bunch of news stories and articles.
We're about to. It's funny, right? We're about to record Arcade Couch, and the biggest. We're about to. This is between the cushions. We're fiddling between the cushions before we get into the actual couch.
It's crazy.
The biggest thing, the biggest gaming thing, other than the video game award stuff, which is a big thing. The other big thing that is happening this week is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out.
Yeah,
the biggest Pokemon nerd out of all of us, the two biggest Pokemon nerds are not going to be on the show this week. Have you played it? Because I haven't played it.
No.
So if you're listening to this afterwards, I'm sorry. There was probably except for very probably minimal and very third party outside view of other people's experience. But what I'm seeing about sucky performance and stuff, there'll be very minimal Pokemon stuff this week. Have you been playing much God of War? Even though we talk about
not as much as I'd like to. We'll get into that during the episode as well.
We will. Okay. Yeah. But it is a weird week. Formula One is happening this weekend. It's the last.
Yeah, it's the last race. What we can talk about some sports stuff now.
Sure, let's do that.
Dylan's not here to shoot us down.
100% sport.
He's you guys.
You know what? Also, we would be talking about wrestling this week because Full Gear happens.
Full Gear is actually right now.
Is right now. So, which I guess that's why he's.
Sorry, buddy. Everyone. This is why I'm not. I didn't come over. Also, I'm babysitting my brother. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you make of the Verstappen Perez blow up over the past weekend?
I don't know about blow up.
Verstappen is totally in the wrong, right? He should just let him pass. Stop being a dick.
I think Verstappen is in the wrong. I'm not the biggest Verstappen fan. And I do feel bad because I feel like he's actually at the core of it. He's a nice guy. I think it comes from the English side of me because I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan and feelings of resentment about last year. But then on top of that, I think my reintroduction to Formula One and how I myself got invested in instead of kind of by proxy through my dad was Drive to Survive, and Drive to Survive just doesn't put Verstappen in a good light ever. Like even like the
Well,
Daniel,
he
like,
wasn't put in a good light in the first season because obviously Ricardo is super likable, and how do you go up against him?
Exactly.
And then he's like, "No, I'm not showing up on the show anymore." So how's anybody's opinion supposed to change if you?
Yeah,
you
exactly. So I think that's always leading. So I'm sorry, Buddy Watson, that I don't love Verstappen. I can understand from. I think as any athlete has to have, and this is funny because I'm pulling this straight from an anime I watched this morning. Any athlete has to have a level of arrogance, like has to have some kind of belief that they are the best and that they aren't always have to be a team player. I have to have that kind of level of arrogance, and I think for Verstappen to be world champion for 2 years in a row, you do need that kind of that level of arrogance and that level of no, I'm doing this for me. Even if the win or even if this position in terms of my year isn't important, for my pride and for my own like drive, I just need to do this because if you're not going to drive to win every time, what's the point of driving? But at the same time, it's like,
Formula One is like the weirdest sport. Like, sure, there's drivers and they're racing to win the world championship, but really, the real money is in the constructors championship, which is a team-based.
Yeah, which is team-based.
You know.
And look, Red Bull. I think Red Bull has that tied up anyway. Like.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if they've got 1 and 3, I'm pretty sure they're pretty good.
Yeah, like the Red
Bull could be 1 and 2
tied up.
You know,
but yeah, I think I feel bad for Perez because look, in some ways, even though Max won the races last year and did as much as he did, in some ways, Perez kind of earned that championship for Max because of how hard he fought Lewis in Max's stead several times throughout the year.
Yeah, you've seen the lists of things he did in races to help Verstappen win.
And the thing that Red Bull has always been looking for is the ultimate wingman for Verstappen. They have been looking for the equivalent to Bottas to Hamilton. They've been looking for that for Verstappen. And I think these drivers, in the end of the day, they're like, cool at the start. It gets me in the... It gets me in the driver's seat or whatever for to say I'll be it. But eventually, at some point, you're like, no, I want to win races. Like, I think you have a really interesting dynamic if you look over at Ferrari with Sainz and Leclerc, because I think at the start of this year that Ferrari was a very one-man team around Leclerc, and I think Sainz, through a lot of it, has had to be like, nah, fuckers, I'm here. I'm not here to be a number 2 driver. I'm here to be equal with Leclerc. So... And Leclerc's had to deal with that and whatever. But yeah, not to get too much into the weeds with Formula 1, but I think it's an interesting situation. I think, you know what? What's more of that I don't like Max Verstappen, I really dislike Helmut and Christian Horner. I think both of them are very unlikable in their own way. And once again, that does come from, you know, a Hamilton Mercedes kind of bias because, and look, last weekend I was so happy for George Russell. Like, I know George Russell, is going to become my new favorite driver. He's going to take that spot because Hamilton's eventually going to leave. So, it's an interesting spot. I was really big on McLaren at the start of the year, and then all the Ricardo stuff happened, and now I'm very kind of jaded towards McLaren a little bit because of that, which may be Australian biased or maybe just liking Ricardo, but I think that could have been that situation.
But it's weird because an Australian's coming in.
Exactly, because Piastri's coming in, so you got to support Piastri, but at the same time, And then I guess finally, in terms of Formula 1 stuff, is the Sebastian Vettel retirement this week, I think.
Yeah.
He is one of the best role models in all of sport. Like, just to be like, you know, he had his brattier younger years where he was a bit of a dick and he did what he had to win his world championships. But I think, you know, he is an elder statesman of the sport. He's a role model in terms of environmentally friendly activities. I think tonight, or like night of the Saturday in Abu Dhabi, they're actually doing a lap of the, like, running / walking a lap of the track in honor of Vettel. Because instead of a normal celebration, he wanted to organize like a family fun run kind of thing, to kind of in honor of his retirement. But yeah, it's Formula 1's in an interesting spot. World Cup's about to start for
that is the craziest thing.
It's football World Cup.
It's November.
In November, in Qatar, the middle of the fucking football season. It's a weird one. I'm really sad that Reece James never made it onto the England squad.
Who are you going for in this World Cup?
I go for England in World Cup. Like,
is it because England's got more of a chance than Australia?
No. Yes and no. Yes and no. But I guess growing up as a Chelsea fan and an England supporter, I've always had a connection to England's football stars in terms of your Frank Lampards, your Steven Gerrards, kind of your Wayne Rooneys. Even though it was always really interesting because if it was club football, you hated them. You fucking hated them. If they're playing for their Man United, their Liverpools, respectively. Fucking hated them. God, I wish they would fall over and sprain their ankle during this game and get taken off. But at the same time, as soon as they put on that England shirt, you felt pride in them. You were worried as soon as they went to penalties, and you took them on as your team. And I think that is a very hard thing for me to get over. Like, I'll support the Socceroos. Sadly, they are like the second worst rated squad in the World Cup this year.
Oh yeah, like in FIFA.
In FIFA, and I think it's just general consensus around the seedings for the teams. But
I mean, in the seedings, yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at Sportsbet. The lowest odds teams are Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Costa Rica. If you want to go for you want to put a really weird bet out there, they're both going at $501 to win the World Cup.
Yeah, no shot. I don't believe so. Like, I think if you're weird one, I think if you want to put a bet on, I'd actually put like a weird bet on Senegal. They have a really interesting team this year.
They're $126.
Yeah, and I think they could go far. But England is also, it's funny. England, I was looking at stats this morning. England is the highest valued squad. They are 1.22 billion. I think it's with a B because of the amount of players they currently have with that kind of the contract. But I think England's at a point where it has to be this year or this World Cup or next World Cup before they kind of have to go back into the cycle of, even though they've got overall a young squad, you're losing the likes of Harry Kane, your Mahrez's, you're kind of the foundation and building blocks of that team. So, but I think it's still exciting. There's, my boy Mason Mount, Bellingham's going to be in the squad. I think it's a really exciting year. I think World Cup in general is an exciting place because there was a lot of upsets and a lot of weird teams. Like Italy is just not in the World Cup. Didn't qualify this year. Last World Cup's winners. Oh no, the Euros winners.
Euros, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Euros winners are just not going to be in the World Cup. Which is crazy. But no, I'm excited. I actually think I'll be staying up for a few of the games at least, or I'll be like tracking the English times. I do need to get that set up because I don't know. I'm guessing it's Optus Sport.
It's just kind of no, it's SBS.
It's SBS.
Oh no,
okay.
no, SBS is doing the Australian matches. I don't know about the rest.
Yeah, I don't know who's the rest.
That's a
good
really question.
Weird. I wish what Optus Sport having Premier League is really fucking annoying. Because I just wish that, I don't know, it's a monopoly. I just wish Foxtel would have it so it was on my radar.
Okay, apparently every match of the FIFA World Cup is free and live on SBS.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's
all
really
64 games.
That's pretty cool. Is there only 64? Yeah, I guess so, because it is, there's 4 groups of 4, and then round of 16. Yeah, okay, that makes sense with that many games.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? World Cup's a really cool time. And it is one of the things that makes you a little sad not to be in England, because even though English fans are obnoxious, and like, you know what? And this is the sad realization. 2 realizations. One's tooth related, and this is back to AFL. One of my friends asked me the other day if I was a Collingwood supporter now since I lost a tooth. I was like, no, it's not. It's not a front one. It's not an obvious one, so I can't be a Collingwood supporter. But I think England are the equivalent of the Collingwood of the World Cup. Is just nobody else wants to see them win. Like, they're just so loud and obnoxious, and Nobody wants to see England finally say it's coming home and actually mean it.
We do. I don't want to see the gif of of like us fans realizing it's not coming home.
It's not coming home, man. Look, just don't.
It could. I mean, they've got a solid shot. I think I think
they've got a really good start. I think they at least get to semi-finals.
It'll be interesting because I feel like playing in Qatar will be the great equalizer because it's going to be hot.
Hot as fuck. Yeah, that's fair.
So it's like,
but at the same time, England's like a weird heat when it is hot. It's not that hot, like it's not the hot, but they're used to the dryness.
I mean, it's getting hotter now, so maybe it won't be.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's really exciting. AFLW.
Hang on, I want to ask: did you see the news around? Obviously, it's being played in Qatar.
Yeah, around Budweiser.
Qatar.
About
there's going to be no alcohols.
No
at
alcohol
the games.
in the. Yeah, that's
how are the English fans going to survive?
I don't know.
It's going to be the
but at the same time, I would find it very funny, even though it's a shit beer. No, in my personal opinion, Budweiser put out a tweet where they took a picture of the warehouse where all of the Budweiser they had sent to Qatar was ready to go, and they're like, whichever team wins, we're just throwing a massive party. And all this beer is just going to that country. Like, it's just, we will send it over there. It's really weird, and it's interesting. I think Qatar is a really controversial location for it to currently be in, sadly.
Everybody should check out the FIFA Uncovered documentary on Netflix, which kind of explains how corrupt FIFA has been and how Qatar kind of got the World Cup. Even though the people in Qatar were like, no, we got it fair and square. You're being racist by saying that we, bribed everybody into letting us.
Yeah, it's
get the World Cup, but yes.
Yeah, it's it sucks, and like stuff like I saw it yesterday for the English squad, like their primary like water bottle sponsor, Lucozade, is removing all of their like branding from any bottles or anything that the English squad's going to be using over the weekend because they don't want to, in like kind of response to some of the more political unrest that's going on around Qatar and around the region. Yeah, it sucks. It's like the setup for the setup for who gets who gets the World Cups is very weird a lot of the time. Some of the strange ones, like I was reading this morning article, was talking about the 2030 World Cup, which is going to be set for it's the 100-year anniversary of the World Cup, and they are currently doing the
bidding process or whatever.
Process for it. But the countries that are bidding are so fucking weird. There's one that's like something like an amalgamation of like Portugal, Spain, and I think it's Ukraine together, which is very odd because Portugal and Spain are very close, and then Ukraine is like the other side of Europe. Like there's like these coalitions of countries that
I think they're just adding them so everybody feels good about
potentially. But yeah, I think one of the coolest things is it's like the Olympics is when the World Cup is set in one place, you learn more about their culture, you see more of like kind of their home vibes. Like everybody remembers, there was the World Cup set in South America that had the vuvuzelas that everybody was talking about.
No, it was in South Africa.
South Africa, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
It was, the vuvuzelas that were, and everybody talked about them and how fucking loud they were the entire time.
But then they showed up at a bunch of different places.
Yeah, and then it turned into a thing around the world. I think it's so politically interesting how the World Cup affects so many things and how many situations there are. Like even kind of not exactly World Cup, but like the Commonwealth Games, and that is coming to Victoria, or like the bid was for Victoria. And seeing how that expands to its regional cities in terms of like the sporting infrastructure and the facilities that get funded and put in place when these kind of things are happening.
Well, Brisbane's going to be going through that in the next 10 years with the Olympics coming up. So
yeah, exactly. it's an interesting situation that gets put in place where these big sporting events come to local regions. So, sadly, it's corrupt in places like Qatar and previously Russia are getting them, but hopefully that gets resolved and it's such an interesting situation overall.
Yeah, and AFLW, its season's about to end, and the Lions are going to win. So, nothing else to say about that.
Even though they're playing at the Brisbane training ground, like the new facility.
Playing at Springfield.
Playing at the new facility, which has a 600-person grandstand, and the turf has only just been laid, so it looks like it's going to be fucking horrible surface to play on.
Home field advantage is all that matters.
Nobody has ever played on that ground.
That's true.
Like, it's such a weird decision, but yeah, that is. It's a whole thing because of the scheduling of the season, and cricket having dominance over the Gabba and all that stuff. So, it's a shame that more people won't be able to see it live, but you can watch it on Fox Sports, and that's probably how I'll be watching it because it's in the middle of the day as well. It's like it's gonna be hot. Yeah.
But yeah, that gives us the best chance of winning. So yeah, look forward to watching that. That's all that matters.
That worked out with the last time that Brisbane played at the final. That was entirely important at Gabba, right? They had home ground advantage.
Let's record Akash.